You gotta tell me about yourself. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Hi, everybody. How's everybody doing tonight? This is Deborah Jones, your Blue Table Talk host. And as always, let's take care of a little housekeeping. Where everybody know that the vaccine is in, and the Pfizer and the Moderna is in. So I guess it depends on which one you want to take. That's when they give it to. But we're not ready. They're not ready to give it to the public yet because they're still trying to take care of the nurses, the fire department, the teachers, and other people that comes first before the public gets it. So whenever it comes to the public, which probably will be February or March, something like that, then if you want, it's your choice of whether or not you want to take it. But let's do what we have to do to take care of ourselves and COVID-19. There's a lot of people out there that haven't had COVID, and so I'm just hoping and praying that we take care of ourselves and we do what's right. So let's do what's right. As always, this is public. This broadcast is public, so I need you to go ahead and share, because we all here tonight. We ready. We doing it. So tonight, let's see. Don't forget to do the 3W. Wear your mask. Wash your hands and watch your distance. Those are the 3W you have to do in order for you to, I can't say stay away from the disease because who knows how we catch it, because your body is still open and everything. So just do what you need to do to keep yourself from trying to catch it. Okay. So tonight we have with us Michael Rip Taylor. So
it's actually Mikhail, but
okay, I know. Oh, you're right, Mikhail. I'm sorry, Mikhail.
Yeah. She's excited. You getting excited already, huh?
I know. Y'all got excited. I want to call you Michael. Mikhail. That's a pretty name, Mikhail.
Thank you.
Tonight we have Mikhail Taylor for us, and we're going to talk about credit, getting our credit in shape. Those of you who are already on here, go ahead and share. Hit that share button so you can share with somebody else, because somebody else might need to know about, getting their sharing on their credit in order. So, Michelle, let's tell me something about yourself. Talk to me about you.
Well, first off, I'm from Louisiana. Currently reside in Austin, Texas, right outside of it, San Marcos, Texas. Me and my wife been married for 3 years. I have 3 kids, a 10-year-old, a 21-month-old, and a 8-month-old.
So a 10-year-old? You like you to yourself.
Yeah. As I say, I'm 29. Currently, I'm in school to obtain my CPA license. My company is called 100-Fold. We work on finances, and at the moment, we're really specializing in credit repair. We kind of digged into this during the pandemic. We felt that there was a need in the community to be reached out with credit, finances all together, but we really want to focus on people's credit because a lot of people's goal is obtaining a house, obtaining that car. So that's a little bit about me, and I'm excited to be on the show tonight.
Great. We're certainly excited to have you because, right now it's the Christmas season and we're using those credit cards. I mean, we're using left and right. So I want one thing I want to know. What is the difference between a credit card and a debit card? What's the difference?
So the difference between
that debit card have that logo on there, for credit. So what's the difference?
The way I like to put it is the seen and the unforeseen. And a lot of people say, why you say it like that? Because a debit card, that's the scene. That's what we know you have in your account. That's the deposit money in your account and you know it's there. That unforeseen is when the consumer allows you to, they make a contract with you saying, I'm going to give you this amount of money and contract that you're going to pay it back with me. So that's the unforeseen. That's when you just spend it. You don't see the money, but it's there. You know what I mean?
Oh, okay. So is it best for us to use a credit card instead of a debit card?
Well, everybody's circumstances, change. If you're disciplined, definitely use a credit card because you're building credit, especially during the holidays. You can use that credit card to replace with the good faith or the goodwill that you're going to pay it back, right? But I always personally, I say use my debit card because I know I'm a big budgeter. I like to budget. So I know if I have it, I like to keep those credit cards for emergencies. But a lot of people have to use it and replace, and that's understandable. Everybody's situation is different. But I definitely say if you're going to use it, have a budget to the side that you're going to pay it back. Like say like, okay, I don't budget this amount of money so I can pay it off to build my credit up, you know?
Right. Somebody is giving you a shout out right now. Let me go ahead and let you see that shout out. Kevin Petty says, if y'all need credit done, McHale Rip Taylor and his team are awesome to work with. So
thank you, Kevin. Thank you.
So that's awesome. Thank you for saying that. Okay, so how can the credit card company raise my interest rates if I'm paying my bill? What can I do about that?
Okay, so but they have a clause. Okay, they have a clause, and when you first sign for that credit card, and I know it's all that right. Nobody looks at it. They're allowed to raise it whenever they want. Because in that clause, when you sign that agreement form, you're signing yourself off to say they can do what they want. Even if you're paying it on time, they still can raise that, APR or the interest rate up to you anytime. So you definitely, and if you are in that situation, let me answer the backside of that. If you are in that situation, the two things you can do, either you can opt out because they give you 30 to 60 days. And a lot of times they send that paperwork in junk mail. So a lot of times you just look at it, throw it to the side. You don't really pay attention to it. So you can opt out of it, but you need to pay that balance off and get you a new card. That's going to be your best bet because they allow to raise that the interest rate on you at any time.
The same card?
Yes, ma'am. Yep. Yeah. Okay. If you get a new card, what you mean by you get a new card, they can raise it. They can't raise it within 6 months, but they can raise it after 6 months to a year. They can raise it at any time. It's just in the clause. All that little fine print writing.
Something that we don't read, right?
We don't read. We look over it and you're like, "Ooh, they giving me $1,500," and you sign it real fast.
Oh yeah.
You don't read. Yeah. You don't read it because they might give you 7%, and they might go up to 24, 29% on you at any moment, especially during the pandemic. They raise it because they want their money. They want to get as much money. They want to try to get as much money out of you because they hurting just like we hurting.
So they have that right.
They have that right.
Wow.
Yes, ma'am.
And if we don't read that, we'll never know. They have that right.
We'll never know. It's always in that fine print. We never pay attention. And a lot of times, is in there, but they'll slip it in with all the little fine print words, and especially if you don't understand the way they word the verbiage, then you might not ever get it.
Right. Okay, so a debt collector has contacted me about my old debt that I had about 30 years ago. Do I still have to pay it?
Oh, well, how many years ago you said?
I'm just saying, I could put 30 years in there on 25 years.
Okay. Yeah, okay. So there's these thing called statute of limitations, okay? Every state's different. Most states, 4 to 6 years, they can sue you, right? They can sue you for the debt. After that 6 years, they're not allowed to sue you, come after you for the money. As far as your debt, you always should pay your debt. Let's get that first. You should always should pay your debt. But there's certain situations, okay? So if you're going to buy a house and your lender says, because, after a while, that debt, the impact it has on your score, it comes down. So, in 7 years, you might not have to pay it if you're going to buy a house because your lender might say, hey, look, this debt really not impacting you like that, so don't pay it at the moment. Now, would they come back and try to get their money? They're always going to try to get their money eventually. They might stop harassing you after 7 years, but they can't sue you after the 4 to 6 statute of limitations. But I definitely always say pay your debt because you just don't you sign that righteous agreement and it's all integrity. Stay honest to the debt that you have and pay it off. It's the best way to help you when you're talking about credit. It's the best way.
I could tell you one thing about myself. I went to a business school when after I graduated from high school, and so federal government. And so I had the loan and everything. And 30 years later, I didn't pay the loan back. 30 years later, they came back on me. And so they're saying that I owe that money. And I'm like, man, that's been 30 years. Where you find my name from? Are you sure you're talking about me? So what I did, I called a federal government to ask about that. And so they looked it up and everything. I gave my source. I gave them everything that they needed, my maiden name, because at that time I was married. I gave my maiden name and everything. And what do you think they told me? My debt was paid in full. It was nobody but God. So I'm like, because I know I didn't pay it. Go ahead and pay that.
Now, sometimes they do write it off. Sometimes you get wrote offs. They write them off. They just charge it off after so many years. Every place is different, so I don't want to confuse the people. Sometimes they'll when you charge it off, it might be charged off. And here's another side of that: the minute you contact them, sometimes when you contact them, and you start another agreement with them. That's 6 and 4 years and all that statute of limitation stuff goes out the window because you restarted that loan or you restarted that debt. So your situation is different, you know what I'm saying? But somebody that may be in the not 30 years, they might be in the 5-6 year range.
Right.
That debt,
Right. But everybody not Deborah Jones. They couldn't get their page full like that.
Yeah, they had the faith that you had, you know what I mean? They had the faith. You called it with the faith, you know what I mean?
Oh yeah. Okay, so let me talk to my viewers. Let me say, guys, I need you to, if y'all have a question about credit and anything, please ask Mikhail about it because this is your chance to do it. And he's the one to answer your questions. I do have questions for him, but I might not be asking the right questions that you want to hear. Okay, so how many credit cards could I carry? Is there a number? Yeah, is there a limit?
Yeah. There's no limit on how many you can have or carry. The ideal number that you would like to have is about 3 to 5 credit cards. I always like to say this. I'm not going to detail, but if you're disciplined, you can have 5 with no problem. But if you're not disciplined, you might want to have 2 or 3 because you can't control yourself. If you're starting to, if you can't control yourself, let's be honest. The other part of that is there's a 5 to 24 method rule. You don't want to apply or get more than 5 credit cards within 24 months because then you become a high risk because then they're going to look at you like, oh, they just applied for credit. And a lot of banks, lenders will look at that and they won't approve you after that point. So keep this rule always in mind. It's called the 524. You don't want to get, or really you don't want to apply for no more than 5 credit cards within 24 months.
Wow. Guys, don't forget to share. Hit that share button. Okay, so my spouse and my parent, they died. Okay, and now they're deceased. And now I discovered a lot of debt from them. So do I have to pay it back?
When somebody died, you do not have to pay. You don't accrue their debt. You don't receive their debt, right? A lot of times they'll lie to you, tell you different things. You don't understand it. Now, if you co-sign for them for something and they passed away, then you are in agreement to pay the debt for them. So if your parent, you're in your mom's house, a car note, and they pass away, you got to take the debt. But as far as somebody, their trust is supposed, is going to pay for the debt. If they don't have a trust, obviously they don't pay for it. But it's kind of like, charged off. So you don't have to pay for your parents or spouse's debt unless you are a co-signer on their loans or credit cards.
Right. Yeah. So, okay. So my child, I've noticed that my child has a lot of debt and I want to help them. So what's the best way to help them?
The best way to help them is get them some kind of guidance and help, whether that's you or somebody that's like financially planner or advisor that can guide them. You don't want to initially take out money to help them because obviously they have a bad habit. They have some type of problem with spending or controlling their money. So you just step in as a parent, create some type of budgeting tool for your child in that nature. Now, if you are in good credit standings and you want to go the extra mile, then you may need to fund the money, whether it's taking out a loan or your personal funds. That's going to be your best options. Co-signing them a loan, but then you got to think about it and really pray on it because now you're going to put yourself back in the same situation if they don't pay it. So now it falls back on you. So.
Okay, so I want to revert back to last week. I had mortgage. What's the guy name? The guy with my mortgage. Robert
E. Lewis.
There you go. When we were talking about earlier, I had Robert on last week, and what you talking about when we talk about co-signing. Suppose I want to get a mortgage loan and I co-sign for my child, and it's going to get that will go against that mortgage, right? Because they're going to look at it. If I'm paying, they will look at that, right?
Yes, correct.
But
you
then
co-sign
I won't be able to get that mortgage, that loan for the mortgage, or what?
So say that again. Like you said, if you co-sign for your child,
right? And I was paying for it, and I'm paying that. Money is coming out of my account.
Oh, you won't get credibility if you're the co-signer.
Mm,
Now it would help increase your credit score on that note, but it won't do a much impact. You're gonna carry the same benefits as the signer. The signer's gonna always get a little bit more,
mhm.
but it will affect you as far as going to get other loans in that nature. Because when they pull your report, that loan's gonna come up as
It's gonna
if it's
come up.
yours.
Yeah.
Yes,
Wow.
pop
Wow.
up.
So we have to be careful with that then.
Yeah, you gotta be careful when you co-signing. I know they say in the Bible that I don't go that deep, but you gotta be careful if you co-signing because you're putting your neck on the line for a lot of stuff, and it's not always good to co-sign. There's other routes, before you co-sign. So definitely want to watch that out with anything: loans, credit cards, all that, cars, houses.
Right. Suppose I don't have the money for bankruptcy. What can I do?
There's a few things you can do as far as if you don't have the money for bankruptcy, right?
Right.
So let's kind of dig into that a little bit. If you don't have the funds for bankruptcy, there's a few things you can do. First, you need to create a budget plan. You need to get with somebody to create a budget and savings.
Mhm.
There's you want to, and I hate to say this because it's such a bad thing to do, but you don't want to pay your unsecured debt, meaning credit cards, stuff that they can't come take away from you, like your car notes and your houses. That's secured debt. So you want to pay those things, but unsecured debt, if you got a lot of unsecured debt, use the money that you would initially pay them and make a budget and the savings tool with it, right? Let it use it work like let the credit pay for itself or let it pay for itself. So a lot of the money that you want to spend out there like that, save it, create a budget plan to knock out some of your other debt that's really hurting you so you can pay the debt that's unsecured that they're not going to come after you. And I say that to say also, sometimes you can pay from debt collectors. A lot of people don't know this, but if they're still harassing you, they have a non-harass act that you can file against them. You could potentially get about $1,000 from a debt collector if they're harassing you. So there's, and you
Really?
need to generate some other income. Yes. Yeah. People don't know that. People don't know that. But
Now, can you say that one more time?
so debt collectors in your rights, debt collectors is not supposed to harass you, to a certain extent. Like they can come out, but when they harass you, you can file against them, and sometimes you can sue them and get $1,000 for debt collectors harassing you. Take that money and go pay some bills,
Right. I'll go buy TV.
Generate some. Yeah. Now you got to generate some revenue, or you take that $600 you're about to get and put to the side and pay some bills.
Right. Oh Lord, that's
It's
insane.
never crazy. Crazy. It's never crazy.
Right.
She said,
Right.
"Buy TV." That's what got you in bankruptcy in the first place.
Right. Okay, so let me. Okay, so you was on Robert's show last week, and I posed this question to you. So I'm gonna pose it again because I want the viewers to hear this. Okay, so I pay my bills religiously, and I pay them. I'm retired. Okay, keep in mind that I'm retired. So I pay my bills at the first of the month every month. First of the month, I pay all of my bills at the first of the month. So I received a past due notice on two of them, two of the retail companies, and so it says past due. And then I called them and told them I paid my bill first of the month. They said, "Well, ma'am, you should have paid your bill let's say the 21st. You should have paid your bill on 21st because that's when it's due." I pay my bill first of the month. You can't tell me when to pay my bills. So they put a past due on it. And so why is it that I close it out? So why is it that they put past due when that bill was already paid?
Okay, so there's two dates that you have to keep. Yeah, so there's two dates that you have to keep in mind at all times. There's a due date and then there's a statement date. Okay, your statement date and your due date is not the same. So what I'm saying to say, your statement date might come out at the end of the month, and you're looking at it like, okay, this is what I spent, this is what I owe, right? At the end of your statement date. But your due date could be the 21st. So no matter if you pay it on the first, the payment, because you got to think, it's not people, it's softwares, it's computers now that's reading your payments, right? Mm-hmm. So when you pay it, if you don't pay within 2 to 3 days on most cards, it's going to consider late. So if your payment date is on the 21st, you need to pay by the 19th in order for the computer to read it as a paid. Now you pay it on the first, the way the date's set up, that looks like it's past due. So that's what you was dealing with.
So you think I should call the creditor and tell them to move my date up?
You can call and change your date. If you're in good standing, talk to them and say, hey, look, I pay all my bills on the 1st. Can you make my due date on the 30th or the 2nd? So when you pay it on the 1st, right, you get, because you got a day after your due date also. So make that date. So whenever you pay your bills, make your date around that. Talk with them. Call the credit. Say, hey, look, I pay my stuff on this date. I do X, Y, Z, right? So you don't get that kind of that issue, you know.
Okay, so
Definitely.
if I check my credit report, would it hurt me?
No.
How often can I do that?
Okay, so there's some softwares you can use that you can check it regularly. Everybody uses Credit Karma. At least use something, right? You get one free report a year, which is myannualcreditreport.com gives you one free report a year. But they charge you after you want to check it after that, right? So it's good to get like a credit monitoring service that checks all 3 bureaus. Credit Karma only does 2. Sometimes your bank only gives you 1. But you need to check it a minimum every 2 to 3 months. But I say check it every month, because every month they report. So every month something new can pop up, something inaccurate can pop up. So check it at the end of the month or the beginning of the month, whatever's best for you. It doesn't hurt to check it. There are some My Free Score Nows. There's some programs. My company offers a solid credit monitoring service, which is $29 a month with us. It gives you all 3 bureaus real time, and it gives you your score, and it also gives you the actual report. It's 2 different things. Everybody looks at the score, but the report is everything that's being put on the report, as far as like your accounts, your inquiries. Sometimes your score just shows just a score and a number. We show you everything that's from late payments to payments, so you can get that with us, you know, if you don't get it from somebody else.
So what are the credit bureaus that we can get the report from?
So they got a ton of them. Not a ton, but they got quite a few.
I mean, the top 3, yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Your top 3 is going to be Experian, TransUnion, and Equifax. All 3 going to be scored differently. FICO might score it differently from Vantage. Your Vantage scoring is those like Credit Karma, those apps and everything. FICO is more of like your lenders, your car people, your jewelry places. So it can, and the only thing different between Vantage and FICO is a scoring model. But TransUnion, Equifax, and Experian, your top 3, and they all could be different, because not every credit card or consumer reports to all 3. Some port to 2, some port to 1. So it can be different, but that's going to be your top 3 that you need to focus on, and top 3 that mortgage lenders use.
Okay, so is there anyone in particular that everybody looks at that say, "Oh, this is it. This is the one right here"?
There's not one that's more important than the other. From my resources at the mortgage lending side, they usually look at all 3 and they take the middle score. So there's not, because your TransUnion can be middle or your Equifax can be middle. So there's nothing that's more important than the other. Some banks do lean towards, I think, Experian a little bit more sometimes, but every place is different. Because everybody has a different scoring model. Everybody has, different things. Is Credit Sesame valid? Credit Sesame is valid. But once again, it's going back to that Vantage scoring system. Credit Karma and Credit Sesame, a lot of those places, they get paid for advertising. They get paid to get you on their site. So they're going to give you what you want to hear and what you want to see, because they have affiliate programs with all those credit card companies. So if you get on those monitoring service like that, they offer those cards and they offer all this information. They're going to always talk your scores and stuff up, because they get paid for the affiliates. So good question though.
Okay, so my ex-husband was supposed to pay for this account out, and so he didn't. He damaged my score. Now what can I do?
You need to have a talk with him first. You need to have a talk with him first. Nah, T. But look, your ex-husband. So most likely you was in co-signing or a joint account with them, right?
Right.
The first thing you need to do is see if you can get a forbearance to give you some time to figure out the debt. There's nothing you can do as far as getting off. Now, he can refinance the car, the home, or something like that, and get the loan under his name by itself to get some of that stuff off your report. But as far as if you tied and signed that dotted line with your name, you're tied to that debt also. So the first thing you want to do is get a forbearance or refinance, or either just you got to pay that debt or pay the stuff. And then once you get it all cleaned up, you need to dispute those inaccuracies and those late payments to get that off your report.
Okay. Okay, so I know you talked about this, and I just want, some people just came on, but we're gonna refresh it. So I co-signed for an auto loan for my daughter, and when I tried to refinance my mortgage, I found out that she had been paying it late. She had been paying her loan late, so it hurt my credit score. So what kind of information can I do to get that removed, or can I do anything?
You can do something. A lot of loan programs have a co-signer release form, which you need to check into. You and her need to sit down, or your child, significant other, and it's called co-signer release. So they'll release you from the loan. Most time it has to be in good standings, though. But
who had to be in good standings? She had to be in good standings, or I had to be in good standings?
She had to be in good standing because the loan's primarily in her name. But now, if you're in good standing, the loan has to be in good standing. Let's put it like that. The loan has to be in good standings to get that co-signer release. Some places that get it. You got to be honest when you call those people and be upfront. Say, hey, look, I need a co-sign release. I'm trying to purchase a home. My daughter, has some issues with this loan. I need to get off of it. Most times there's a co-signer release program that might be like a fee or something. You also can refinance the loan, like I said earlier, and put it in your daughter's name. She refinances it and put everything in her name. So take you off that loan. When you refinance, it's almost like getting another loan, Or you can sell the assets, sell the car and pay it off and get it out your name. It's another route for you.
So they will take it off. It can be done, right?
It can be done. Co-signer release is the first thing you want to do, though.
Awesome. That's something to think about. Okay, so I'm deep in debt. I'm deep in debt, and I have terrible credit. Okay. What should I do to get a good credit score? How can I bring my credit score up?
First thing, call me. Get with me and my team. But honestly, the first thing you want to do is create a budget system and a saving system for yourself. Because paying your debt is going to be your first option. There's no good rich credit schemes. There's no overnight success with this. First, you want to pay your debt. So set up a budget system. The credit is not damaged. Not mad.
Sorry.
I don't know which one you're talking about. Yeah, so I was looking at Rob message. But first and foremost, you want to create a budget system and then you want to get a copy of your credit report. Go to myyourcreditreport.com. You want to look at what debt you have, what's hurting your credit, and then you want to start tackling the high interest credit first, or high interest debt first, I should say. Knocking out your debt to income or your credit utilization, it makes up 30% of your credit. 35% of your credit makes up for your payment history. So those are the two things. That's 65% of your credit right there. So the first thing you want to do is make a budget system, start paying your debt, start paying your bills on time. This can be your first thing to do. After you do that, then you need to put some positive accounts to dilute the negative accounts. So there's different kind of programs, self-lender, get your secured credit card. There's numerous places like Capital One has it, Discover have it, Bank of America has one. Some pretty good things. And the secured credit card does, you're putting a deposit down for a card using your own money, but it's building your credit. That's gonna be your first thing. And you want to just build that up until you get your credit established enough to go get a unsecured credit card, which is a credit limit from a bureau, consumer,
Right. Don't forget, guys, if you want to ask questions about your credit or about credit period, don't forget to put the questions on the web so that we can ask Mikhail about it so he can give us the answers. Okay, so Lillian says, how about hospital bills?
Hospital bills is going to affect your credit. There's two ways to look at it, though. HIPAA law says that you're not allowed to have credit bills on your credit report, but that's not to say they're not going to be put by a third-party company. Also, if the hospital is coming after you for debt, there's nothing you really can do about that as far as not being on your credit report, right? But you still got to pay the hospital bill debt. Now, I'm not a mortgage lender, and that's a question for Rob as far as which hospital bills you need to pay and don't pay, because sometimes there's a rapid scoring that you can pay it and it'll fix it. But as far as your credit score, it will affect your credit because it's also put into like a collection. Anytime there's collections on your credit report, it's going to give you a negative scoring or a derogatory mark on your credit.
So how long does it take? How many years does it take to get that off your report?
It'll fall off.
7 years.
It's 7 years till it can fall off your credit report. Now, there's still maybe times that you might have to dispute or call the bureaus about it, because 7 years, and it's very rare, but 7 years it usually automatically falls off. But there is situations that it doesn't fall off at the 7 years. And also remember, once you contact them, it refreshes it. So once you contact them about this debt, it's going to refresh it. There is ways you can get off your report, which is disputing, but it has to be inaccuracies, or say like you paid it and it's saying you didn't pay it. There's those type things, situations. That's another topic, but there's ways you can get that off. But 7 years is the time frame.
Now you said if you call them, it's going to refresh the bill. Refresh it as far as making it longer, or refresh it as far as, okay, I see I got a bill on there, and so let me take care of this right now. So
well, it restarts the clock. So if you call them and say, hey, you sign any type of agreement or talk about an agreement with them on a repaying agreement, that loan starts back over from the original number. Like, so
really?
say you didn't, so say you didn't pay that debt, or you had a payday loan, you didn't pay in 5 years. You call them to set up a payment because you got tired of them harassing you.
Right.
The minute you sign a document saying I'm gonna pay this debt back, that's the minute it refreshes the clock on you.
Okay, here's a question for you. It says, why is it that when you pay off a credit and don't use it, they close your account and it lowers your credit rating?
Okay, so we had this topic on one of our shows. When you pay off the debt, any inactivity, see, the way credit works is they want you to use credit. When you don't use credit, you're not making them money. The credit cards don't make money by you not using the credit card. So when that credit just sits there inactive, they shut it down, and then it becomes a closed account on your credit. And once again, these are a computer system. So once they see a closed credit, they don't know why it was closed. They just see it closed. So they're going to give you negative points. It'll be a negative mark on your credit. That's why it's not good to get into those retail credit cards sometimes if you're not going to use that card religiously or use it continuously, because the minute you get that retail card, that dealer's card, and you're like, oh, I don't want to use it, and it sits there, it closes down, and then it gives you a negative mark. That's just because they don't make money if you're not using that card. So they don't get, because they put interest on it, and they get paid off of that. So they want you to use the card. They want you to use credit.
Wow. So that's hard. That's hard to even look at, because if you close the account because you want your credit to look good, you want your credit score to go up or whatever. Because I'm trying to find out what makes that credit score go up. You didn't close the account, and so now you saying that the credit companies like dealers or whatever, the retail stores, they want their 25% interest pay, right? So that my credit score is still not going up, right?
Correct.
Wow.
So the way credit is, right? And I said this in the post, your GPA in school turns into your credit score. They want to see how you can manage money. If you can't manage money properly, then that's bad scoring. If you can they just want to see if you're disciplined, how you manage money. That's how they can read you. That's how they can understand for you, to approve you. So when you don't use your credit card, you say, I want to close this account. That's why it's not good to always close accounts, because your credit score is made up, and it's the 5 things your credit score is made up. All right. It's the payment history, which is 35%.
Right.
It's the accounts owed. So that's your credit utilization. It's 30%. That's what I told you earlier. It's a credit mix. So you got to have some revolving credit, installment loans, different type of credit. And that's 10%. Your length of credit is 15%. So how long you had credit for? Have you been doing it for years? So those long credit cards that you have that you've been having 10 years, you're like, once I pay this off, I'm closing it. It's not good because it's going to hurt you. It's going to hurt your credit score. It's a scoring model. That's how they see it. And then also new credit, which is 10% of your credit score. So you got 35, like I said, 30, 10, 10, 15. That's 100% of how that's a credit file. That's building a good credit file. So a lot of times we want to say credit score, credit score, credit score, and it's about having a good credit file. Once you have that good mixture of everything, the computer scoring models see that and they say, okay, this person knows how to manage credit, they know how to manage their bills, they're disciplined, so they get this score, or they get 100 and some points for being, on time payments, 100 points for this, 100 points for that. So, I don't know the exact number, how many points you get per thing. Everybody's credit score is different. It's like your DNA. Everybody's different. But when you close those long-term accounts, that hurts you. I'm talking about after 3 years. If you have a card for 3 years, you want to keep that open because that's 15% of your credit score is how long you had credit for. So if you had a card that's 3+ years and you close it down, now you only got a car note, which is only a year old, and you maybe just have another loan or a credit card that's only a year old. Your credit score is about to drop tremendously because you don't have a long length of credit. So you don't want to close those accounts down.
I think you kind of answered this question, but I'm gonna pull it up again for you. So what should you do if you have a retail card and you don't want to use it anymore? And then she said, but you don't want to close it either.
The only option is with retail card is, you got to be disciplined. You got to go buy that little $20 shirt and just pay that $20 shirt off just to keep it active and open. Or you could take the hit, close it, in a few months later, maybe 4 or 5 months later, your score will go back up. But there's nothing you really can do. That's why they get you, because they, it's a system. All this is a system set up for us to fail pretty much. But when you get to that credit card counter, save 10% today by applying for this credit card. In your head, you're like, oh, I can save money. But it's really just to get you that credit, because they know you're not going to use it every day. They know you're not going to go, they know you're going to close it down. So it's just everybody, they make money like that. So you got to be disciplined.
It's really a ripoff.
Yeah, that's all it is. So you got to be disciplined. So if you got that retail card and you don't want to use it, the only way the retail card is going to work, and a lot of times I tell people with their credit cards, that credit card you don't want to use, just go put $10 of gas in. When the payment comes up, pay the $10, or buy a pack of gum, buy a cold soda with it. Just don't go splurging. Don't get out of hand with it. But that retail card, they have their pros and cons, man. You might save money in the upfront, but it's gonna hurt you in the long run.
Wow.
Especially if you don't want to use it. So
yeah, especially.
Good question. Thanks for that question.
She says her last question is, how long can a card be inactive before they close it up approximately?
They usually go for 270 days before they close it. With no inactivity, like 270 days. Everybody's different, 180 to 270, but they're gonna wait a few months before they close it. So just put 6 months. Yeah, just put like about 6 months in your head, approximately 6 months before they're gonna close that card down. Because they want you to. They don't make money if you're not using that card. Yeah.
I try to close some of my cards out, but don't like they trying to close it out for them.
but
use it again.
Yeah, but they get you like that. I will say this though. We've been everybody's been brainwashed like don't use credit, and that's what happened. You want to close those accounts. That's what everybody tells you. Close the accounts. But it's more about discipline and accountability. That's really what it is. It's about being disciplined. I remember my dad used to cut them credit cards up. He'll keep an account. And now that I'm older, I'm like, man, he cut that card up. They probably closed the account down. And because we didn't know the knowledge that when you close the account, it hurts you because you're thinking like, I don't want the debt, so I'm going to close it. But the credit card company looking like, I'm going to close it because you're not using it. So you got to be disciplined. Use it when you can. Use it for small little purchases. One goal I tell everybody is if you could pay for it cash, use the credit and then use the cash on the back end.
Okay. But this is a good time. Because we're in this pandemic, this is a good time to pay on your credit cards and get your credit straight, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And loans,
right. Get your credit straight because all of it's gonna if you don't, all of it's gonna hurt you at the end, on the back end of it. So
next year is gonna be it's gonna be a lot of credit issues next year coming up.
What you mean by that?
Oh, well, there's a new scoring model coming out with trended data, and now they're going to go back 24 months. Like, when you can go get a home, we talked about this. When you go apply for a home right now, it's a snapshot of probably like 90, 60 days. They look at your credit history, like how you've been paying your bills. Now with the new scoring model, they're going to be able to go back 24 months. So when you go to buy that home, lenders are going to be able to go back and say 24 months, did they have this credit card and this? Did they do this? How was their payment history? And then they can make the decision off of how you was 24 months, your track record.
Wow.
Yep.
Wow.
Yep.
That would hurt because probably last year or whatever, my credit wasn't good. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And now I decided I'm gonna go ahead and get my credit straight and everything. So that means that I can't get that loan, right?
Yeah. Depends on the lender. They look at it and say, "Oh, wait, Deborah, you had $30,000 in debt a year ago, and now you I don't know, you was missing payments. You had this." They're gonna be like, you're not. I can't trust you. They really can go back 24 to 30 months. So it's big. It's big. Wow. So that's why you got to take advantage of it now. And then they got so many programs out during this pandemic that that's helping you. Like, I know student loans, there no payments to the first of the year on some of them, no interest on some of them, just different things, So you want to take advantage of some of this stuff.
What about those student loans that people who have been out of school like 10 years and everything, and they fell bad because they lost a job and they can't pay the student loan? And what about all that? Is there help out there for that?
Yes, well, I'm glad you said it. We have a home show tonight talking about the same thing, but there's a couple of things you can do. You don't want to let them in default, right? There's the loan forgiveness program, which they'll set you up on a payment plan for so many months, and then you make an agreement to it, right? Rehabilitation program. There's income-based. You really just got to reach out. And I'm just giving you a few. The loan forgiveness, sometimes you could pay it off for 10 years. And then after that, they'll forgive the rest of the loan. The rehabilitation program, if your loans are in default, right? You make 6 to 9 payments consecutively over agreed payment with the borrower, or the borrower and you make a lender make agreed payment on how much you pay back based off of income. You got to give your spouse's income, you got to give your rent or your mortgage, and they'll come up with a set payment for you. And you make 9 consecutive payments off of that. They can get your loans out of default. And then you can go to a payment plan with them. And then they got the income-based program too with that. And then if you're a teacher or a service person, check out those things too, because sometimes they'll pay your loans off. So it's a few things you can do now with the pandemic. And they're lenient right now. They're very lenient during the pandemic.
Oh yeah, but I heard a lot about if you're a teacher and you've been teaching for 5 consecutive years. Is that right? That they can pay it off for you or whatever?
Yeah. You got to have some means. I don't know the exact
program. What program is that?
It's called the it's like a teacher forgiveness program. So you got to call. Every loan's different. Sometimes they want 5 years. Sometimes it could be a little bit more than that. It really depends on how much debt you have. Because sometimes I know if you got less than 30,000, they can do some of those things. Like if you're more than 30,000, it might be a little bit different. So you got to really reach out and get the accurate numbers on those.
Right.
And it comes down to if you're paying on time.
This viewer says, if I had a $10,000 bill 24 months ago, and now I got it down to 5,000, how good is that?
It's okay. It's good that you got the debt knocked down tremendously. But when you got credit cards, you want to be under 30% utilization. So, and that's only 50%, you know what I mean? So you want to get it down to 3,000 in order to get a good scoring model on yourself. 50,000 is considered your high risk. And anything under 10,000, you consider a high risk because they think that at any moment you can make a risk. You can go make a crazy purchase. So you want to keep that in that soft cushion zone between 10 to 25% is a good utilization to have on your credit card. So it's good that you knock your debt down, but you want to get that card into like the $2,500, $3,000 range and maintain it anywhere between that.
I know a lot of people here want to know this question. What is a good, I'm actually 3 of them in a row. What's a good credit score? What's a bad credit score? And how can I get a free annual credit report? Okay,
a good credit score is anything above a 670. My threshold is 675, which is a 5-point difference. Anything above a 670 is good. Obviously, if you go past, up there into like the 800s, you got a great credit score. But you're not going to miss out on too many interest rates. The 740 is where we want everybody to be at, right? A Let's talk about a fair credit score is anything between a 580 up to a 670, 660, 665. And that's fair. And then, your bad is going to be anything below the 580 range, and then, in that nature. But you want to keep a good credit score, anything above a 670. So even if you have that 640, because 10 points can make that much difference on interest. Now, I don't know the exact interest per loan, but there's a ton of loans out there. But you can go from having a 12% interest rate to 4% by just 10, 20 points. So you want to get in that 670 range. And you can always get your credit report from myannualcreditreport.com. There's a ton of different places out there. Myannualcreditreport.com gives you, by the Act, Consumer Act, you're allowed to get one report every year. So myannualcreditreport.com allows you to get one free credit report per year to check over your stuff. But you want to check it more than that. We need to change the habit. You need to check it monthly, quarterly, anything of that nature.
Okay, so how many credit cards should I have in order to build credit?
Well, to build credit, you can start off with one. Everybody's situation different. Now, if you have a decent credit score, like we talked about earlier, try to get you about four credit cards, 5 credit cards. And I say that because to have a good, when you start talking about credit, you need about 10 trade lines. And that's a mixture between revolving credit, which is credit cards, and then installment credit, which is more like your house notes, your car notes. So you want a good mixture. That's our goal is 7 to 10, because if you do have some delinquencies or something like that, the positive outweighs the negative. So, but as far as credit cards, let's go for a goal. You want to have about 4 credit cards, because remember the rule I told you: no more than 5 credit cards and no more applying for 5 credit cards within 24 months, because it can hurt your score, and then plus lenders won't approve you for loans.
Okay, so what kind of tools I have out there that could manage my account?
Oh, what you mean is manage your account as far as your credit score and stuff? Like, as far as managing, there's no such thing as like manage it for you purposely. There's nothing that's like there is apps that like, as far as like pay my bills, like the automatic payments, stuff like that, that's managing your account wise. So definitely is always good with your bill. Set your budget, put your bills, like if it's due on that date, set that automatic payment up on the cable bill, phone bill, and it won't allow you to miss those payments or be late on payments, so you won't hurt your credit. But the best way is to every month, get a copy of your report and check and see if anything's wrong on there. But the best way to manage it is auto pay. That's the best way to manage yourself.
Right. Because I was going to say, I go through auto pay with my bank, and they always send something like, this is, this bill is due on this day and everything. But
Chase is really good for that. Chase and Capital One are really good for that. I don't have every bank in the world, so I don't know everybody's bank, but definitely set your bill payments up with your bank. You can set them up with the companies to draft it, but I would set mine up with my bank because if you set up with the company, AT&T gonna draft it at 12 o'clock. They coming for your bread, So definitely want to set up with your bank. That's the way I do it with Chase, and they send you update. Hey, 3 days, this is gonna be due.
Right.
And let that pay the bill like that. And that's the best way to manage your money and your account. And it also helps with your budgeting and saving and your discipline.
Right. Yes. Here's one that says, what is the best credit card to have?
So there's a few out there. Well, the best one to have is that American Express. When you get into that American Express, that they don't let anybody get to American Express. Navy Federal Credit Union, they have a good one too. But the best one to get, and I'm going to say this in 2 ways. Capital One Platinum is a great credit card to have. Now, Capital One has a Quicksilver too, which they allow for more of the bad credit or fair credit people. But Capital One have a great credit card. Discover has a great credit card. Credit One is another good one. Bank of America has a good one. Chase, any of the major banks always have good credit cards like Chase, Capital One, and those natures. But the best one I've seen from the people I work with is that Capital One Platinum. The Capital One Platinum, they're a little more lenient on their range of scoring is a little different who they allow in there than a lot of companies. A lot of companies want that 640 or higher, 650. But Capital One will let you get in there with like a 580. I'm pretty sure 590. So try to get that Capital One Platinum, Capital One Quicksilver. If you don't have a good credit score, you need to go with the secured credit card with Capital One, secure with Discover, Credit One has a Credit One has a secure card also. And then just check with your local your bank, who you bank with, and see if they offer a secure credit card. If you don't have good credit, or you're in bad credit and you're not getting approved, that's the only way you can be able to get the credit card to build your credit. But if not, those are some good ones.
I know with American Express, if you got to pay all that at the end of the month, or the beginning of the month, right? One payment.
Yeah. You got to pay American Express. They don't, and they'll cut you off quick.
Yeah,
they'll cut you off quick. American Express, if you late so many days, they shutting you down. They're not like these other people that let you go a few months not paying. American Express, they want their money.
They want their money.
Yeah, they only, and that's why they only allow a certain amount of people. And then if you get the American Express Black Card, you're in another pay grade than me. I'm gonna say me. So definitely, that's some good ones.
But the interest rate on those cards, they're high, right?
On which ones?
Like the American Express and Discover and stuff like that, and like you said, Capital One Platinum and.
Oh, they all nowadays they all high. They do have some good ones. The Navy credit, your credit union cards are gonna be your best ones to go with as far as interest rates, and that's even with loans. Credit unions are always the good. If you're in a credit union or know somebody can get you in one, definitely go with them because they're the way they set up. The interest rates are lower. The big banks always gonna have high interest. The higher your credit score is, the lower your interest rate is gonna be. So that's why it's important before you can get those cards, try to get that 700 range because they'll lower your interest rate. So I say that to say, yeah, they'll give you a credit card with 24% APR interest, but there are some with the 12s out there, but you got to have some good credit. That's how you make the decision on it.
Right. Okay, so lately, because we're in this pandemic, I've been shopping online. Okay, So is shopping online either better to pay by a credit or a debit card? Even though that debit card got that logo, even that that
Visa, MasterCard. When you pay with I can kind of clear this up. When you use your debit card as a credit, that's just saying that they're not, you put it on credit, they're gonna take it out, a day or two, whatever later. Right. It's pretty much the same thing as the debit, right? I always prefer to tell people if you have the cash, use it, because you usually, even it's a scene. You see that money, you see it come out, you know what you got, you know what you don't have. When you use it credit, and even if you got the money in your account and you use it credit, something can come up, or you might forget, or you might spend that money on something else, and you're gonna say, "Oh, I'm gonna use it on my credit card, and I'll just pay it another dime a day later." If you're disciplined, do that. But if you're not, and you're an impulsive buyer because you see that you got to the cash register and you see them leopard boots. I know Miss Debbie might see them leopard boots at the cash register. She's like, "Oh, I can just grab them too," and she had a different store. Because see, I can tell you might go to a different store and be like, "Oh, I like them boots now." But now messing, but nah, if you pay for a debit if you can. I'm always a big finance person as far as pay for it if you have it. But if you're trying to build credit, use the credit, especially if you got the retail card, use it, but be disciplined. And make sure you pay it on time when the due date, not the statement date, when the due date is up.
Yeah, because you say that statement date, that's what's going to throw us off.
Yeah, you see that statement date and it's like, oh,
that past due range.
Yep. So and people, don't be scared to call your creditors and ask and say, hey, when's my due date and when's my statement date? So you know the difference. And that's with all your loans and credit cards. Find out when the due date is, because they can trick you. Because you might think, oh, it's due on the 1st, and it could be due on the 18th. And then it doesn't report to the credit bureau to a different date. So they might report it, your due date might be the 18th. They might report it to the credit bureau on the 29th. You already, 11 days late, and you don't even know it until you hit your credit,
Okay, so to stay on that subject right there, if I use my credit card, I know it's good. I know it's, everything's gonna be good, but I use a debit card. Isn't that ways that we can have fraud on our account because that debit card is going through?
Which is, say that for me.
Yeah, because I know that I was using my debit card once before while I was purchasing a item at Best Buy. I'm gonna go ahead and say Best Buy, and so the company called me and said it was fraudulent on my card. And because they thought that the person who was doing it, was because I never used that amount on my card, put it like that. So the bank called me and said it was fraudulent. And so it was all kind of ways I had to go through that. And it was on a weekend. So, banks not open on weekends. And so I had to go through some issues with them to tell them that it's me. I'm doing this item. So they still wouldn't let me do it. So I had to go to the ATM, and they only let you have a certain amount out of there. And so I went there and got some of it, and then I pulled the card out and I went back to put the card in, and they wouldn't let me have it. So really a debit card is not even safe to use because of fraudulent.
Well, yes and no. That's your bank just protecting you because there's so many scammers out there nowadays. So many people, but most times you have to set that limit with them, or you could talk to them about that. They always have it set. They might say, over 500, shut it down, or over this amount. If you're going to make a big purchase like that, and I had the same situation myself. I was in Arkansas, and my bank locked my card because they thought somebody stole it, was using it out of town. And same thing when you go on a cruise. That's the same thing. When you go to international waters, they'll lock your card up. It's not that it's fraudulent. It's just that your bank's protecting you. So you definitely want to reach out to your bank.
Robert said, in his opinion, pay with a credit card for security. Yeah. And that's what they told me in the store. Do you have a credit card? And so I said, yeah, but I don't want to put on my credit card. I want to pay for it because, like you said, cash is king. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so I want to go ahead and pay the cash and not put it on my credit card, but it was no way I can do it. And Robert's giving me a WWF annual credit report. That's what I have down here at the bottom. Oh,
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Action. Yeah. I ain't put all that on there, Robert. Smart credit. What's that?
Oh, that's a credit monitoring service that we offer through our company. That's what he's putting up there. Thank you, Robert.
Thanks,
Uncle
Rob.
Get with that right there. If not, inbox me or go to www.live100fold. And that monitoring service allows you to check your credit on the regular, give you the updates, hit your credit when something hits it, so it stays up to date. Especially for the people that's really disciplined and really want to get the credit on track. So yeah, that's a couple places that you can go to get that.
Well, the clock on the wall says it's time for us to get on out of here. And give me some give the listening viewers a last thing that you want to tell them about their credit. What should they do about their credit?
I'm gonna give you a little credit hack. So a lot of y'all have credit cards, right? And utilization is a big issue. Call that credit card company and set a limit if you're not disciplined. Let's start to make the change. Don't keep that credit card limit at 1,000. If you want to keep it at 200 or 300, call them, set it, and it'll discipline you. And on another note, if y'all have any questions, anything like that, don't be hesitant to reach out to me. I'm always available to talk. I have a set a calendar on my schedule. We can talk about your credit, get you in the direction. If I can help you, let's get them at my program. If not, I'm loving to help people and knowledge people. Also, check out our show, The Home Show. Also, we talk about a lot of good things dealing with credit. If y'all need more information.
How do we get to The Home Show?
Robert E. Lewis, or type in Robert E. Lewis on Facebook, and soon y'all be able to type in The Home Show. But Robert E. Lewis, or go to my page, which is Mikhail Rip Taylor. 8:30 every Tuesday and Thursday. We talk about how credit and mortgages, how about the roadmap to buying the homes, buying those goals that you have as far as cars and things in that nature. So we definitely pour out a lot of information out on there. So definitely come check us out. Add me. I know you tagged me on the post, so come add me and all those things and follow with us.
Robert said, we're trying to help a young Black man out, and so proud of him. Proud of you, Mikhail. And he is a great example for younger folks.
I have to give Rob a big shout out. Personally, we met through a mutual friend, and he became, like I told you earlier, first thing in the show, he became more of an uncle, father figure for me as far as in this thing. And we talk daily, and he's always. I haven't met somebody this much that just pours advice into me as much as he has. I mean, if I got a question, there's no humiliation like that. It's just straight information, and he just want to see me do well. So thank you, Uncle Rob. We got big things coming,
That's my nephew. He says, great show, Auntie. Yeah, Robert. You are a neat, trusted source of knowledge in the community. I appreciate you. I try to help the community out, because there's a lot of stuff that we need to know, and we need someone to He said, save it for later. And that you guys need to know anything that you want to know, viewers. If whatever you want to know, drop it down in my messenger and let me know who you want me to bring on. Not exactly who or what's the topic you want me to bring on. Sure. And I would definitely find someone for that topic. And I hope that that we can get out here and do what we need to do and everything. So I want I always say at my last thing, if I can help somebody as I pass along this way, then I know that my living is not in vain. Merry Christmas to everyone. Happy holidays. Be safe, be blessed. And you know what? And always remember that Jesus is the reason for the season. Don't forget that. Yeah. So
thanks for having me on the show. Awesome. Auntie. Thanks for having me.
Thank you. And let me tell you something. Now, hold on before we get off. I just met Mikhail. I just met him. I saw him on Robert's show. What's the name of the show?
The Home Show.
The Home Show. I saw him on the Home Show last week. And it was just last week. I thought, I got to bring him. I have to bring him on the show so that people can know. Because Robert did the mortgage. And so what comes after mortgage? Your credit. Yep. Credit should have came first anyway, and then your mortgage. But I wanted him to come on so he can talk to you guys. So I hope that you enjoyed it, guys. I hope that you enjoyed the show, and I want to thank you. I appreciate you. You gave us a lot of information that we needed to know. Thank you, and happy holidays. Let's stay on for a minute. Cheryl Chambers says, "Great job, Deb." Oh, she's my whatever we want to call her. She thinks she is. Great show. Happy holidays. All right. Good night, everybody. God bless you. Smooches. I forgot.